Hello and welcome to all of you. You're watching Tech24. Coming up, Moscow subway users have started buying tickets with facial recognition. Authorities claim queues at ticket counters will be greatly shortened with the system dubbed FacePay. But the move has already sparked controversy as facial recognition has been used in the past for the purposes of repression. What should we make of these technologies? We'll talk about it with our guest, Marcus Godar. And in Test 24, we'll try a solar kit made by Orange. One country it's being used in is Cameroon, enabling people to stay connected 24/7 despite regular power outages. Now, it sounds like science fiction, and yet in Russia, a facial recognition payment system has just been rolled out in the capital's subway. Users no longer need their phones or metro cards. Cameras can scan their faces, which are linked directly to their bank cards. Authorities say the only goal is to shorten waiting times. Facial recognition is already widely used in Moscow, especially in supermarkets. Our correspondents in Moscow report.
You stand on the sticker on the floor, keep still, look at the camera, and go through.
No more queuing for metro tickets or passes. These facial recognition cameras allow people to pay for their ride on the Moscow metro via a smartphone app.
You have to upload a photo into the app. Once the app approves the photo, you just have to put in your bank details to pay for the trips.
Operating alongside more conventional payment methods, the Moscow Metro says this new system will help save time, amongst other advantages.
It's designed so that passengers will spend less time in queues and offer more ways to pay for their trips. And also, it's entirely contactless, which is a very important advantage right now, with the pandemic ongoing.
Initially, it was the security service who installed 5,000 of these facial recognition cameras in September last year. The metro company then decided to take advantage of that and equip the cameras with the FacePay technology. It insists that passengers' privacy is not at risk.
This system only uses one part of the security apparatus. The cameras, the servers, and all the rest of the FacePay system are completely separate. Under no circumstances will customers' biometric data or any other information be transmitted to the security services.
Some passengers are enthusiastic.
It's so easy. In you go and that's it. No need to keep recharging your Metro card everywhere.
Others, more hesitant.
I'm worried about the protection of personal data and possible leaks.
Will the Russian authorities be able to access the personal data of FacePay users? They have in the past obtained such data from websites and chat services. The Moscow Metro says no. But critics of Russia's rollout of facial recognition technology are skeptical.
Face recognition has become a widely used technology in Russia since the beginning of the pandemic. Especially, the city of Moscow has used it in tens of thousands of surveillance cameras to monitor compliance with containment and quarantine measures. Political opponents to the regime have also been arrested, prompting several NGOs to criticize its extensive use. Well, to talk more about it, Marcus Godar joins us. Thank you very much indeed for being with us today. You're the head of intelligence at NetExplo. It's a global observatory on innovation and a training organism. Hello.
Hello, Julia.
So you closely follow all of these questions of facial recognition in smart cities. What's at stake here for citizens, and is it the end of anonymity?
Well, it could be, because it's very hard to hold out against any technology that delivers convenience and makes our lives easier. But that technology often has a darker side. If we look at what's happening in China, where facial recognition is already in use just to go through entry barriers in transport to gain access to university campuses or public buildings, we see there's a possible almost dystopian future ahead. Because if you imagine you take the facial recognition that's been deployed in that country and you mix it with the social credit system that's already being rolled out, then you can have a very dark future. Remember that the social credit score is a system whereby every individual is rated on how good a citizen they are, and their score can go up or down, the facilities that the state delivers them can be adjusted accordingly. You can, for example, be refused entry to domestic flights if your score isn't good enough. You can imagine facial recognition cameras on every street. They're looking at you when you cross the road, monitoring your slightest movements. That could be a very dark future indeed.
Now, Marcus, are there technologies out there to evade facial recognition in public spaces?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of them come up in the last few years. Some of them are very simple, some of them more high tech. Masks aren't so useful anymore because the pandemic has helped artificial intelligence to train and recognize faces even with a mask on. But we've even seen anti-surveillance clothing lines, for example, in certain US cities. If you wear a dress with a vehicle number plate on it, you won't be recognized by a security camera because they think you're a car. But we've seen higher tech solutions, and we should remember that surveillance is not just in outdoor public areas. Smart speakers, Siri and Alexa are listening to us all the time, and so American researchers have developed bracelet of silence. It's a wristband that scrambles the sound that goes into Alexa or Siri so they can't eavesdrop on you. We've also seen an Israeli startup called DID, which very slightly modifies pictures of people's faces on social network against industrial espionage, but we can also see how it can be used to stop security forces or police identifying suspects, for example.
Now, confidence is, of course, key when it comes to deploying smart devices that collect sensitive personal data within cities. And a project that was recently officially abandoned is in Toronto. It was led by Sidewalk Labs, which is part of Alphabet, the parent company of Google. What happened there?
Well, what happened was that Toronto in 2017 called on this Google subsidiary to develop a smart neighborhood in the former Dockland area called Quayside. And it was a very attractive project. There was lovely wooden buildings, a lot of green spaces, renewable energies, electric vehicles, but there was a lack of transparency over the contract, particularly as regards use of people's individual data. And NGOs started protesting, and eventually the general public of Toronto rejected the project because they didn't trust this Google subsidiary to use their personal data with care. And it was very disappointing. The entire project was called off. And now it's all awaiting development, and probably the next project will maybe consult citizens more, be a bit less ambitious, a bit less high-tech, but take more account of data privacy.
Marcus Godar, Head of Intelligence at NetExplo Observatory. Thank you very much indeed for that.
Thank you.
And it's time to welcome our tech editor, Peter O'Brien. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Julia.
So what moves are being made on a government level to ensure that our biometric information is used in a sensible and ethical manner only?
Over in the US, the White House Science and Technology Policy Office is looking at creating what they're calling a Bill of Rights for the AI age. They say it will clarify the rights and freedoms we expect data-driven technologies to respect. So work has actually kicked off with a consultation on biometric recognition technologies. This includes emotion recognition, hiring algorithms, so expect stricter rules for facial recognition, virtual assistants, and things like that. Over here in the EU, the European Parliament has called for a ban on police use of facial recognition technology in public and on so-called predictive policing. So it's likely to vote in favour of this in negotiations for the new AI Act, which is upcoming. One group that opposes such a ban is the industry-friendly centre-right European People's Party. This party looks set to have a say in amending some of the more controversial parts of the AI bill, like the list of bans. So we'll have to see how that one pans out.
And crucially, it's not the tech itself, but it's the biases behind it that have triggered this rethink and this push to roll back some of the technology.
Yes, absolutely. So just because an AI system might work on everyone doesn't mean it necessarily works for everyone. Companies' attempts to convince people that their AI systems are fair and unbiased have been called ethics washing by critics. That's because we as yet don't actually know what an unbiased or fair AI system, especially a facial recognition one, would look like. For instance, even if your AI is very good at recognizing, say, transgender people, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily including them. It could actually just make it more easy to discriminate against them. Now, the IDIAP Research Institute in Switzerland believes it has the answer, training AI systems not on databases of existing people, which are inherently biased and non-diverse, but on a database full of imaginary people who've been made up themselves by an AI system.
Thank you very much, Peter, for that. Let's move on now to Test 24. After its campaign to expand the electrical grid into rural parts of Madagascar and the Democratic Republic of Congo, French company Orange wants to become a key figure in the energy transition in Africa, and it intends to do so in part with this solar kit that you have here.
Yeah, that's right, Julia. They're selling them in around 9 countries from Senegal to Madagascar, and they come with a large solar panel, a smart battery, and various other bits and bobs. So LED light bulbs, a charging station for up to 5 devices, a radio, and for an extra fee, you can even get a 24-inch screen television. Now, it's intended to be as affordable as possible. So the kit is rented out and customers can pay for however many days they need. And after 3 years usage, they own it. So don't need to pay any more after that. Orange doesn't actually make all of the stuff. It's partnered with other companies to provide the kit on its behalf, like Greenlight Planet and Niwa Solar.
Now, we're not just lighting up houses here on Tech 24, entire streets as well.
Yeah, that's right. So Sunna Design is another French project which is looking to illuminate places with little light at night. So it's rolled out its frameless solar panel streetlights in the town of Habaisha in Egypt, which is home to 3,500 people, but also actually over in Haiti and even here in France in Bordeaux. One competitor is Zola Electric, which is backed by Tesla and recently raised almost 80 million euros to continue its drive to distribute renewable energy. It already has 1.5 million customers in at least 10 countries. Another company worth a mention is M-Kopa, which is headquartered in Nairobi and is one of the leaders of solar energy in Kenya, in Uganda, and in Nigeria.
This is proof that frugal innovation is probably part of the answer. Thank you very much, Peter, for that. It brings us to the end of this week's edition of Tech 24. We'll see you soon.